Frea, did you spend your whole life in the Skull Village? If not, tell me about some of your travels.
The first time I left the island, my trip was cut short due to an incident aboard the Northern Maiden, while out to sea. My first night aboard the ship, one of the deckhands tried to hold me down and have his way with me below deck. He wasn't much of a fight. By the time Captain Gallen found me below deck, I was sitting on a barrel next to the headless corpse of his deckhand that attacked me. The captain begged me not to report what had happened in fear of his ship being cast out of Raven Rock. We soon arrived at a compromise. Now, when I travel, my trips are always free. Plus, the captain and his deckhands drop to their knees and service me. No questions asked.
Well then, I think we need to do some traveling together after this is over. I think we would have a lot of fun together. Probably make a lot of people nervous as well.
I wanted to join the companions, but instead the Jarl took me in. He told me that he had a safe path for me to follow. Come to find out, the path led right to his bed. Now I put my life on the line for my Thane. I take my duties serious, but seriously? This is a safe path? This doesn't seem safe at all. As exciting as these adventures are, it doesn't seem like the path to longevity.
Just make sure you're doing what you want to do, 'cause you're not that good of a fighter. Frea, did you spend your whole life in the Skull Village? If not, tell me about some of your travels.
I've traveled to many places on Solstheim. They're very interesting places to visit with rich history. One such place is called Castle Karstock, located in the northwestern region. It used to be the home of the mythical frost giant Karstag, as well as his Reekling servants. Karstag was taken from the castle by Hircine as part of the Blood Moon prophecy. It is mostly in ruins, but is still occupied by Reeklings.
Well then.
Are we going to relax at all this weekend?
What did you actually do at Dragon's Reach before you became a housecarl, Lydia?
No one harassed me more than the Jarl's brother. He cornered me one night and kept making demands that I service him. If it wasn't for Farengar, I think he would have raped me that night. Luckily it was Farengar. I didn't have to worry about him doing anything. I'm pretty sure he's into children.
Frea, did you spend your whole life in the Skull Village? If not, tell me about some of your travels.
Another place is Thirsk, a mead hall created by Hrothmund the Red and some fellow Skal early in the 3rd century. It is located south of Skal village in the Felsad coast region, on the banks of Lake Fjalding, another site overrun by a clan of Reeklings. Thirsk is rich with hundreds of years in history, but it is not the history that interests me.
Don't sass
I
me.
hold the place in
I'm on
my
my feet
mind
all
as the
day.
place
Can
for
you
me
please
to
do this
go
one
and get
thing
taken
for
with
me?
force. No one would ever find out as long as I don't get pregnant.
I think we would have a lot of fun together.
By the gods, I need to get off. All I can think about is getting...
What was life like at Dragon's Reach? We must have some stories.
I had a fling with one of the guards for a while. We would always meet out on the Great Porch, late at night. Once they caught wind of the affair, the Jarl stationed the guard elsewhere. I'm hoping someday we see each other again. I fear the jealousy of the Jarl may have had the guard killed.
It seems they kept you there for more reasons than you think. All alone on the island must have been tough. How did you stop yourself from going insane?
Even in our matriarchal society, women very rarely have sex with one another. When it happens, it is usually a form of punishment to us. The first time I wandered out of the village alone, I was punished by the chief. She embarrassed me in front of my father. I learned what getting f***ed meant. I was brought home and stripped naked as Storn looked on helplessly. I was then bent over. Despite my screams, she pounded me into submission until I learned my lesson. It is our way that you are still considered pure, until you allow a man to enter you.
After hearing this, I now want to be raised in a Skull village.
I hate the fucking rain.
What did you actually do at Dragon's Reach before you became a housecarl, Lydia?
I spent much of my time trying to learn combat from Irileth. She is the most loyal woman I know, and dangerous too. She knows more about combat than most have forgotten. She seems to have an unhealthy crush on the Jarl. I cannot imagine her ever submitting to anyone. She carries a command for respect. The way she would stand behind me and hold my form seemed more like she was just getting a thrill. Luckily for me, she never tried anything.
What is Skull life like as a woman, Frea? All alone on the island must have been tough. How did you stop yourself from going insane?
I was somewhat of an outcast growing up. Even though we are taught that the women take control, my urges were different than the other girls. I remember the first time I was woken up in the middle of the night from moaning. I slowly got out of bed to investigate the noise. I crouched down and slowly peeked out of my room. To my surprise, 2 of the Skull women were really giving it to my father. As I watched one but imagined myself in his position as 2 men f***ed me.
After hearing this, I now want to be raised in a Skull village. You're a nice-looking woman, Lydia. You could have any man or woman you want. But I still can't figure out why you chose to do this.
I want people to see me for more than my looks. The Jarl told me this path would give me a good life. I'm starting to think that he was bullshitting me. He said what he needed to say to me, to try and get me into the furs.
Frea, did you spend your whole life in the Skull village? If not, tell me about some of your travels.
I have yet to travel far off the island. I found myself at the Windhelm docks one night, just visiting an Argonian friend. I expressed my distaste for how the Nords there treated outsiders to one of the guards. Seems he thought he could intimidate me. I pulled my and made him get on his knees. From there, I forced him to suck on the end of my sword as others watched. As the steel cut his tongue, blood trickled from his mouth. I explained that it would be more than blood if he ever mistreated my friend again. He begged as others looked on, with his lips still wrapped around the tip of my sword.
Well then, I think we need to do some traveling together after this is over. I think we would have a lot of fun together.
I'm not in the mood for this shit today.
What did you actually do at Dragon's Reach before you became a housecarl, Lydia?
The Jarl's quarters was not a place you wanted to be at night. It was like its own private orgy all the time. The moans and cries never stop in his quarters. The Jarl has fucked most the women that live in Whiterun. They would show up to his quarters in the middle of the night seeking his favor.
What is Skull life like as a woman, Frea?
Being a virgin meant not being by men, as a girl. We could do whatever we pleased. It is our birthright in Skull tradition. I was very young when I realized this, so I took advantage of this and showed neighboring males what I had learned. I would send them home crying, and they stopped playing with me shortly after that. Even though it's common practice, the parents were upset because I started at such a young age. I was trained to fight in hopes of giving me a release.
After hearing this, I now want to be raised in a Skull village. Having men forced to bend to my will is a dream of mine. I still can't figure out why you chose to do this.
I need to learn to be strong. I don't want to become one of those ladies who live on their looks. Too many women think they have this life licked, only to find later in life when their looks have faded, it's all they had. Looks will fade with time. Suddenly the world is no longer bowing at your feet and they become angry. Look at Uthgerd. That woman gets by from putting fear into people. Even the back of her head is ugly.
Well, at least you have your looks to fall back onto for now.